Hi guys, welcome back to Sandling, and over the next couple of videos I'm going to be weathering these two bad boys. So let's roll that intro, let's see what happens. Hi everybody, and welcome back to Sandling, and welcome to what is now my workbench, my modeling bench for the future. And it sits in the little room next door to where the new Sandling layout will be completed over a period of time. Now, I've got to say, this workbench is extremely tidy for me. It may look messy to you still, but it is extremely tidy for me. I've been in the middle of doing lots of little projects. I've got a whole raft of stock here that are being played around with and just seeing where I can push them with some of the materials that I've got. But I have got trays and trays of rolling stock that is just for sandling that I want to weather over a period of time, change couplings, all those things. And they are going to be a nice winter projects before I can get started properly with sanding. But what I wanted to talk to you about today were these two lovely little items. Now, some of you who follow the channel will know that I recently did a demonstration weekend at the Folkestone Model Railway Club show at the Lees Cliff Hall in Folkestone back in October. I really had a lot of fun there and met some wonderful people, and my work seemed to go down quite well with people. People liked what they saw. And as a result of that, I have had a couple of inquiries for commissions. And forgetting the little one on the end here, that's mine. But I have two lovely new wagons here that were brought into me by a gentleman, and to weather and give them the Paul Apps treatment, as it were. And this one is a beautiful Helgen, or Hellian, however you say that, I'm not quite sure, model, and it's very heavy, it's full of detail, and to be fair, it scares the heck out of me. But I got to get on with that one, and I've had a lot of chats with the gentleman concerned, and instead of going for a really rusty, heavy weathered look, we're going to sort of give it a fairly, not light, but middling. You know, you've got a little bit of patchy stuff coming down, but mainly oil stain, mat it all off and make it look less out of the box, as it were, all the underframe, all that sort of treatment. I'm going to do that one, but not in this video. I'm going to concentrate on this one. Now, this is a Gaugemaster O-gauge 16-ton mineral wagon, and I'm going to give that quite a chipped up, rusty effect, and I'm going to be using these two bad boys here, these two rusted products. Now, I think they're from a company called Town and Country. They're about 15 quid a pop, or at least they were when I bought these ones about 3 or 4 years ago. I think a company called Squires sells them on their stand as well. So easily obtainable, and they are a good product. And so I'm going to be using those primarily. And then we're going to work into that with other weathering powders and washes, and just see how we can make this thing look a little bit less out of the box and more like it's had some heavy use. And you'll see there I've got a laptop on where I've got a couple of pictures off the internet, and these are put up, and they're actually courtesy of Paul Bartlett's collection. And I'm just using those as a simple reference. I'm not reproducing them in any way. So I'm just sort of looking at them and giving myself some ideas. And you've got all sorts of extremes, but it is well worth having something there, either that or a book on hand that you've got reference that you can actually refer to when you start weathering this off. So I'm going to get set up and we're going to get on. See how we go. Take the wheels out of this beastie very carefully. There we go. There's 1 and 2. Put those to one side. We will be painting those in at some point during the course of. But I may not use these to do that. I may just use some general browny black color paints. So everything's on hand to get going. And what I want to do is use this stuff. Now this is an acrylic based product from Town and Country. And I don't know, it's sort of quite thick and gloopy. And it really does give off some nice rusty effects. You can see on this one, I'm still working on this one, but you can see how that works. You put on the darker one first, and then you come in with the lighter color, being the fresher rust, and you get the idea. And it's got a little bit of texture in it. All right, so I'm just coming in with the dark, and I'm going to give this a fairly general or very quick covering. Now you don't need to worry about the transfers because they will be cleaned off, because we will come back in with some mineral spirit from acrylic spirit that we can, or acrylic thinner should I say. So I want to get in all those gaps. Okay, now I'm going to come back in with some of the lighter rust, and I'm going to vary it, because the nice thing about any of this sort of thing is you vary the marks, vary the color, not the marks, sorry, just vary what you're putting on so that you have a degree of variety in color finish. So I'm just tapping this on. This brush is quite a stiff brush. Okay, so I'm going to go in with some NATO black from Valero. Just give it a little shake, and I'm just going to put some in the bottom of there. Not too much. Work in with the brush, and it doesn't matter if I've got some of that other colour going on in there from the brown. But all I'm going to be doing is literally dirtying up where the coal has been in the bottom here. Okay, to that black paint I've got there, I'm going to actually add a little bit of dark, I don't know, grungy colour. So let's have a look, see what we've got. Maybe some of this brown, dark brown, which I think will work very, very well. Before that dries up, let's just put some of that brown into that. Mix the two together. Look at that dirty colour. And let's just come in and around the wheels, get these all painted up. Okay, so the bodywork on this is all nice and dry, and I've let it go off for quite a while, to be fair, much longer than you need to. Half an hour, 40 minutes is good. Probably less on a very warm day, but we are where we are with that. We're in the middle of winter, it's quite damp. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be using a little bit of acrylic thinners, pour a little bit into there. Right, okay, let's get started. So some thinners, and let's start removing some of this material that's on here. It take its time to get in, but it will start to reactivate that paint that we put on earlier. And I want to take quite a bit off, but leave enough to suggest the corrosion on this unit. some Humbrol 33 matte black and some thinners. I'm just going to run this in along here, the dirt and the grime up in the corner. Picks out some of that rivet detail as well. Now you can, if you want, use a bit of thinners on your brush and wipe that down, because it will leave a stain mark, but I prefer just to put my finger in a piece of rag and just take off the worst of it so that you get a nice effect around the edges. I'm going to run some enamel through the airbrush now, and I'm going to be using a variety of sort of browns and earthy, dirty colours that I've got. There may be a bit of a black going in there as well. So I've got several. I'm just going to choose a few and tell you what I've chosen, and we'll go from there. Lovely. Sometimes I do, if I'm going to work fairly regularly for a little while, I do tend to store up any into little jars if I get any left over. It won't last forever, but it will last a little while. You can pour it back in and carry on using it. Okay everybody, welcome back. Now what I've got is all the weathering done as I'd like it. What I want to do now is add some information in the terms of weathering powders to the underframe, and simply doing that, and then hopefully this will be a complete job. I'm pretty happy with the way it's gone so far, so let's start adding some information to the underframe. Now I'm being very careful because some very fragile parts on here. I don't want to mess any of those up, and the weathering powders that I'm using are just simply the Humbrol range. mix it down with some water.